14 million. I mean, we've seen all these videos of these young people abusing drugs, and I mean, I'm glad that they're able to highlight this.
Nigeria is nothing but a joke of a country. Want to know why? Before you come chastising me, I'm not the one who said that. Listen to Ayo.
Nigeria is a joke. It's a big racket, and I'll tell you why.
So, just for you to get the reason why Ayo had to make this statement, before we get to the main video of the day, let me just bring this in, just so you understand why Ayo had to address Nigeria or had to tag Nigeria in this manner. But before I proceed, if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you're new, please subscribe to the channel. Like, share the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like the video, Like I said, before we proceed, do you know the Nigerian military and the police never sees eye to eye? These guys see themselves like enemies whenever they come across each other on the streets of Nigeria. But meanwhile, these people are supposed to be, fighting for a common goal, like working for a common goal. But instead, they kind of like always want to show who is superior whenever they come across each other. Let's go have a look at a video where the Nigerian army and the police, and it hasn't been once or twice, it's been countless number of times. But let's just focus on what happened recently in Nigeria, the most recent one in Nigeria, where the police and the military had to go, had to practice their wrestling skills on the streets of Nigeria. The people who are supposed to protect the citizens are rather fighting amongst each other. They are literally enemies whenever they come across each other. Let's go have a look at the video. Then you will understand why Ayo had to tag Nigeria as nothing but a joke of a country.
Well, let's take a look at this now viral video showing men dressed in police and military uniforms exchanging punches in broad daylight and disrupting traffic. The men, according to eyewitnesses, were police officers and soldiers deployed to a checkpoint near the Air Force Base in Delta State. Let's take a look. This is the most embarrassing thing that I've ever seen. I thought it was a skit at first. First time I saw it, I waited so long to confirm if this is actually true. Bimbai said it looked like WWE. The most embarrassing thing I have seen. Well, guess what? It's been confirmed. These men are real police officers. Let me take some eyewitness tweets. This one is from Barry Blas, who wrote, "This is Air Force checkpoint along Jeddah Road in Okwe local government of Delta State." Imagine, why are they disgracing me? The level of corrupt forcemen on the route is alarming. Down to Adesha. Commissioner of Police Delta State, shine your light to the area and sanitize it. Police Command, Delta State Police Command has released a statement, and they wrote in part, "The command is aware of the embarrassing situation between policemen attached to the quick response squad of the command and some Air Force personnel attached to the Air Force Base, Jeddah in Okwe local government area, where the personnel of Nigeria Air Force, without any provocation, attacked the policemen who were performing their lawful duty. On February 11th, operatives of Quick Response Squad, while on crime prevention patrol, flagged down a Toyota Corolla. But the occupants of the vehicle, on sighting the police, took to their heels, which prompted the policemen to go after them and arrested one of the suspects, identified as Iboma Precious, aged 25 years old, and recovered some weed suspected to be Indian hemp, Canadian loud, and other hard drugs. While the policemen were on their way to the station alongside the suspect and exhibit, upon getting to the Air Force checkpoint at Jedo, they were stopped by the Air Force personnel and were told that they wouldn't be allowed to proceed until they released the suspect they were carrying, which the policemen vehemently resisted. And subsequently, the Air Force personnel attacked the policemen without justification. I had to read that tweet because I didn't want to state it without proof. This is a real police press statement saying that it was such an embarrassing situation. Why, in God's name, will you stop a policeman that is doing their duty? Why?
So I think that there are many levels of embarrassment in this story, including this press statement. I say this because this press statement also reveals the lack of collaboration and synergy amongst agencies, which we've often talked about, and is a factor when it comes to our fight against crime and even bigger things like terrorism. The fact that another security agency is outing another agency to say that they stopped them from carrying out their duties. We haven't heard anything from the Air Force in terms of, in a way of a statement. So it'll be great to hear their side of the story, because there's another side of the story saying that, whilst they arrested him, they arrested these boys, they were going, and the boys asked the Air Force. The boys ran away thinking the policemen were kidnappers, and that they ran away and sought solace with the Air Force personnel. So those are the two sides of the story. I would rather take this side of the story because this is officially, it is official. Now, in terms of embarrassment, number one, who is this precious Ibohama that had the audacity to be able to get protection, because that's what it seems like, from the Air Force personnel? Then also, there have also been complaints around that road, Ojiokwe Road, Okpe local government area.
Okpe. My name is Okpe.
Ojiokwe local government area. Residents there have complained about how many personnel stay on that road. Illegal checkpoints in many areas. So let's even investigate if that Air Force checkpoint was legal. Why is there an Air Force checkpoint? If you look at it on the basis of the surface of things, this is the jurisdiction of the police. What role does the Air Force have in this particular matter? The quick response squad was there to arrest suspects, to take them in for further investigation, and then you, as another security agency, Air Force, now come to challenge that and even get into a fight whereby some police officers were injured because we were protecting suspected criminals. It's mind-boggling. So this is a show of corruption in security agencies in full glare of the public, whereby what powers do these guys have that they were able to get the Air Force on their side to fight against their own fellow colleagues in the security agency? So I think this has to be investigated. The Air Force needs to release a statement. What were those men doing there at the checkpoint? Was that their jurisdiction? And how long has it been there? If it wasn't, they should eliminate all those illegal jurisdiction oppressing the Nigerian people.
Well said, Ayo.
Nigeria is a joke. It's a big racket, and I'll tell you why. It's not the first time something like this is going to happen. I'm not surprised. You remember the case of Wadume? In 2019, a known criminal was arrested by IRT. They had apprehended Wadume. They were taking him. An army convoy came in and rescued Wadume. What they said they thought he was being kidnapped.
That's what that said.
And they freed him.
The same story here.
That Wadume finally went through the true wrong of the law because of the high connections. Today is a released man. So, you see, that story, apart from the fact that we have lost our forces, they are compromised by corruption, there's also the fact that if you are so high-handed in Nigeria, you can go away scot-free with anything. There's also a culture of impunity that is pervasive. So people feel that on the pecking order, the police is less than them. No, that's the police jurisdiction. The police should be doing the stop and search. In other parts of the world, like America, that we normally copy, we don't copy America for the right things. A police officer has the right to stop a military man driving.
All right.
Here, they will say you can hardly do it. So it's part of the corruption that is continuing. And like you asked the vital question, who is that precious?
Who is precious?
When you see investigation, you will know. It's the corruption. I'm not surprised.
We will wait for it. These police officers, please stop embarrassing us. Stop embarrassing us. Police efforts. They were out fighting. They were fighting. Did you see the slam dunk?
They're defending themselves in guns.
I mean, seriously, there's no need for the fight. You are embarrassing yourself.
Army officers killed police officers in
It's unnecessary, really. Really embarrassing situation.
So, tell me, how else should he classify Nigeria, or how else should he refer to Nigeria, if not a joke of a country? Seriously, are these the people that brags about giants of Africa? Are these the people who always want to claim superiority over all other nations in Africa? Are these the kind of people who always want to exercise their muscles or flex their muscles whenever they come across other African countries doing way better than them? So, as if this is not enough, would you believe me if I told you, okay, Ghana is about 32 million, right? Like our population is about like 32. Okay, let me make it 30 million, 30 million people. Would you believe me if I told you half of that 30 million Ghanaians in Nigeria, the number in Nigeria are nothing but drug addicts? That's especially when it comes to the youth. So apparently, Nigeria is seriously battling with drug addiction, which has to do with over 14 million Nigerian youth into drug addiction. That is, over 14 million Nigerian youth are nothing but drug addicts. These are the people who are supposed to be the future leaders of Nigeria, the so-called giants of Africa. These are the people who brags wherever they go, who brags they are the ones developing every single country in Africa, but yet can't develop their own country, rather killing themselves with drugs. And I'm not surprised if you ask me, because trust me, some of the Nigerians I know in Ghana, trust me, I can hardly tell which, a single one of them who doesn't use drugs. Most of them are nothing but weed smokers. Some have, other things they do aside the weed smoking, like the codeine abuse, like, all those other substances and stuff. But every single Nigerian I know in Ghana are nothing but weed smokers. When I came across this news, I wasn't surprised. And guess what? It's the same thing they happen to do wherever they find themselves, just like what is going on in South Africa. They are the ones, most of them are into drug peddling and all that. Most of them are the ones who pushes boys on the street to go sell drugs and stuff. That is one of the main reasons why South Africans were like, no, hold up. These guys are destroying our youth and we need to do something about it. But yet, they came out putting the xenophobic tag on South Africans, like, as if they are kind of like attacking them or bashing them or fighting them for no reason. But yet, they have real and legit reasons why they were doing what they did. So let's go have a look at what I'm talking about so you can have a clear picture of what I'm talking about. So if this is the youth of Nigeria, if these are the future leaders of Nigeria, where lies the fate of Nigeria? Even according to Ayo, he even believes if anything is going to be done about this drugs, this drug abuse and stuff going on in Nigeria, it first has to start from the leaders. Is Ayo saying even the leaders are drug addicts as well? The Nigerian leaders? Wow, then Nigeria is really in a big mess. Let's go have a look at the video and We'll be back.
Vimba, in another development, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency on Wednesday announced that about 14 million Nigerians are involved in the abuse of harmful drugs. The deputy commander of NDLEA, Yetunde Joyfos, made the announcement while speaking at an awareness program for secondary schools in Ondo State. I wanted to highlight this story really because as we're seeing that there's, severe joblessness in the land, and then there are youth, our young people are involved in drugs. 14 million. I mean, we've seen all these videos of these young people abusing drugs, and I'm glad that they're able to highlight this, but I also want to know even how they got the demographic, how did they get the data, how were they able to find, and where are these our young people? I mean, she said that tackling drug abuse requires community-wide collaboration, which is the actual fact. Bimbai, a quick comment on the story.
These numbers are so tragic, and I'm glad you're questioning the source of the statistics, because I think if we probe further, we may find that the numbers may actually exceed this.
Exceed, yes.
Because remember, we also have a culture of concealing these types of problems. If this problem is happening within your family unit, it's highly likely that you will try to conceal it and ensure that it doesn't get exposed. So these are the ones they've been able to count.
Yes.
Excluding the ones that have not been counted. But like you rightfully said, unemployment is a huge factor in this. Now, what happens? We have to look at mental health, right?
Absolutely.
You have young people who either are even struggling to just even get through high school, let alone speak of get a tertiary education, can't find work, can't find capital to start any meaningful enterprise and so forth. So besides idleness, there's also a pandemic of depression that's going on that we may not want to talk about, but this is what happens when you have dreams of a bright future and it feels like you're robbed daily. A lot of these people just do this to escape the reality. Drugs are absolutely, I'm saying no, I'm not justifying, but I'm saying a lot of people are doing this just to escape their reality on a daily basis because their reality is just, it's unlivable for them.
Yes.
So this is something that really needs to be addressed.
Yes.
I always remember, I believe it was Ronald Reagan's wife, Nancy Reagan, who came up with the Just Say No campaign in the United States back in those days. Is it the 50s or the 60s?
Yeah.
So I think it's also time for us to, we know we have a very active First Lady.
Yes.
This is
some
of the things that we'd like her to focus her attention on.
Yes.
Let's come up with the campaigns that can drive conversation around this, and let's get these young people, occupied off the streets. And what's the state of the rehabilitation centers as well? Are they accessible?
Yeah.
So many things to consider, really tragic, and we all know, we may not speak about it, we all know somebody who's struggling with this.
Well said.
We all know somebody who's struggling with this.
Well said. I really like that point. Rufai, quickly.
Except you start doing drug tests for politicians, you will not solve the problem of drugs in schools. Because when you look at you need money for drugs. How does the money funnel down?
Yeah.
They are big spenders, which includes the political class. Except you start doing drug tests for politicians, if you can win that war against drug, that politicians are getting drug free, you are slamming them hard, then that drug that permeates into school will no longer be there.
Yeah, it's very sad. Our school, secondary school students, indulging in these activities. Kudos to the good work NDLEA is doing, but we absolutely need more rehabilitation programs.
Are these the people you have problems with whenever we keep complaining about they coming into our country with all these negative mentality and crimes they keep committing here in Ghana in the name of Africa unity, in the name of we are all blacks, in the name of ECOWAS, the useless ECOWAS that can't even fund its member states whenever they're having issues financially. Think about it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like the video, share, and until next time, I'll see you guys. Stay safe. Peace out.